Ladies and gentlemen, YouTube and other various forms of social media are designed to lure you in with clickbaiting and at times misleading titles to trigger some sort of response. I would never do that to you. In today's video, you are going to feel a wide-ranging spectrum of different thoughts and emotions. You might feel disgusted, you might feel captivated, you might feel euphoric. What I am going to show you is so shocking and odd and peculiar and astounding that I really just can't wait to get into the action here. This is a game played at the recently concluded Tata Steel Rapid Tournament in India. Two very strong Indian players were going head to head. I will show you the game in its entirety, and then I'm going to share something with you at the end of the video that will absolutely blow your mind. It will blow your mind. And all I can say thus far is chess is solved. Humans and computers are becoming closer together. I mean, really, this is crazy stuff. Give me about 15-20 minutes of your time. I promise I won't disappoint. So Arjun Erigaisi and Nihal Sarin are playing this game. And the game begins with e4. Black responds e5, and we have an Italian opening. Okay? So far, so good. Nothing new or interesting or particularly exciting, if you will. Now, we have the move c3. Knight to f6 responds black. d3 defends the center. Both sides castle. And here Nihal plays the move d5. Okay? So this is a very aggressive way of playing this opening because the other way that black can play is like this. Black can sort of play a little bit more solidly, a5, h6, and so on and so forth. But I'm telling you, you're not going to be disappointed. Like, this is not some nonsense. Just give me a moment. Don't jump around in the video. I know you guys want to click, boom, boom. 2022, 2023, whenever you're watching this, it's like a time you just want the response immediately. No, I promise, just wait for it. What you're going to see today is mind-blowing, all right? So d5 is a little bit more of an aggressive way to play this position to open things up. Essentially now the black position is a little bit more loose. Pieces are a bit more open, but it's a lot more confrontational of a game. And in this position, white has tried a lot of different things. The move d5 is a very modern move, basically made possible by computers. So in fact, if you let the engine run on a low depth, it recommends this. I mean, it recommends keeping the position close. d5 is not up there. d5 is only a move made possible by stronger computing, meaning right now the computer says it's good for white, but if you go 15 moves deep, actually not the case. So this has been played before, attacking this pawn. It's the most popular move. Black has played this move, very aggressive, pinning the knight, and sometimes white even plays this very aggressive move and tries to take this pawn. Anyway, in this game, Erigaisi didn't play this, or even b4. These are the three most popular moves. He plays a4, which is the fourth most popular move, and looks just completely idiotic, frankly. I mean, right? Like, if you're 99.99% of chess players, you never play a4 here. Like, if I gave 10,000 people below the level of 2,200 this position, and they knew nothing about the opening, I don't know, 50 of them would play a4. And I know at this point, this is where you in the comments go, well, actually, I was thinking about the... Shut up. Do me and yourself a favor and stop lying to yourself, all right? Not just in chess. Well, yes, I do study chess. No, you don't. You solve 8 puzzles, you get 5 of them wrong, then you play 2 blitz games, you rage, and you go back to playing Overwatch 2 or whatever it is that you're playing. All right? Nobody plays a4. The move looks stupid. But the idea is subtle. You want to prepare b4. And a5, you want to trap the bishop and force an a-pawn response. b4 is a different type of commitment. You don't necessarily now have to play a4. So a4, a5, right? So now both sides play a4, a5. When they do it, they're geniuses. When you and I do it, we're idiots. You know the drill. And now white plays knight bd2, looking for some light squared action. And the other idea of white's whole play is bishop b5. Like, if you go back, generally black wants to put a pawn here. But by playing a4 and making this move, like enforced by black to stop b4, now white gets this very nice square on b5. Now, this has all happened before. No one's a genius yet. Have some patience. It's only been 5 minutes in the video, okay? Black now plays bishop d6. Couple of ideas going on here. Avoids the move d4 attacking the bishop. Also avoids the knight attacking the bishop for free. See, now if the knight goes to e4, which it will in a moment, you don't have much to worry about, and this can open up and target over here. White plays rook e1. So far, so good. So far, both guys know what they're doing. So far, they're following games played by some really good players, like Shahryar Mamedyarev has played this. Jan Krzysztof Duda has been in this position. A lot of very good guys. Hans Niemann even has had a game with this in black, with the black pieces. I think his opponent was David Navarra. So black develops the bishop to g4. Simple stuff. Pins the knight to the queen. White puts the knight into the center of the board looking for the bishop. And black has many options here. For example, black can start firing away, but first preparing the king move. So the king is not open on this diagonal. Black can also, in this position, play a preemptive reroute to try to pressure that pawn instead of this knight. Or black can play this move, which is knight a7. The move knight a7, I hopefully don't have to explain. The knight is not glitching off into a different direction. The knight is trying to take the bishop, right? Knight is not like trying to glitch off the map. I used to do that in combat arms. White plays h3. I was going to make a follow-up joke. That's why I stuttered. But then I realized I had no train of thought. Sometimes that happens. Even I have no train of thought. Bishop goes back. Nothing complicated. The only reason that you would throw this in is that you have the option at some point to play this move. You don't want to play it right now because there's no benefit, but sometimes you just want the option to unpin and maybe take something. Okay? Now, in this position, Erigaisi plays the move d4. So he's fine giving up the bishop for the knight. And he's going to try to use the fact that he's got a little bit more central presence here to put some pressure on the black position. Black went knight a7 to take. Okay, so if black plays like a passive move, white will retreat the bishop, and why are these knights here? Doesn't make any sense, right? So knight takes b5, a takes b5, and now we have a big trade developing in the center of the board. Pawn takes d4, and if white takes with the knight, he loses his queen. If white takes with the pawn, he kind of blocks his own pieces. That's not a very good move. And if he takes with the queen, that move does make sense, but you kind of get your pawns damaged. You don't really want to do that. So what you do first is you take the bishop. See, he took a pawn, so I take a bishop, which is more forcing. When you capture max value, that's more forcing. Now, black takes like this. Black does not take with the pawn because black doesn't want to split the pawns in the endgame, right? Nihal is thinking 10 moves ahead. You think 1 move ahead. I think 2 moves ahead. Nihal thinks 10 moves ahead, okay? You don't even think 1 move ahead. Don't give yourself that much credit. Don't lie to yourself. We talked about that earlier. I'm just kidding, all right? Queen d6, now queen d4. So now if this, we might trade and you'll have some weaknesses, so we get to the following position. Now, both sides have played 18 moves, okay? We're still following 1 game. 1 game has been played in this position, which is crazy. Now, bishop f4 attacks the pawn on c7. White is a little bit better. White is better because white has a higher quality of piece. Bishop, knight, rook, they're all of a higher quality. They're more active. This pawn is restricting these 2 pawns, and white actually has something to play for, whereas black is defending the entire time, like in the game Netherlands-USA, which should have not been 3-1. It should have been 3-0, because that was the most ridiculous goal I've ever seen in my life. That aside, I just got done watching that match. That's why this video came out like 2 hours later. Rook fc8, bishop back to g3. All the way here, we are following the game Jan Nepomniachtchi, Peter Leko, okay? In the 2022 Opera Online Rapid Tournament, which is unbelievable. And in that game, Jan played this move, and they drew after like 15 moves. In this game, Erigaisi plays bishop takes pawn, okay? Which is where I am now going to show you the first layer of this opening. Arjun Erigaisi, in a 15-minute game with 10-second bonus time, has 17 minutes on the clock. Nihal has 5, if even that. That's very bad. That means that Erigaisi is still in his prep, as we call it. He knows the whole game. He knows everything. He hasn't had to think. He is playing this entire game from memory, which is what I told you in the intro. All right, now we're about to go down the path of the horror movie, of the Mindbender movie, the usual suspects of a movie, except it's a chess game, all right? This is disgusting that he has all of this in his memory, and it's only about to get worse. King to f8 attacks the rook. The rook defends. We are now in new territory. White is giving up this pawn because this is not a threat. The weakness of the black position is more of a problem. Now, Nihal plays rook to e8. Okay? Take, and now rather than taking and getting hit with this and this, Erigaisi plays the very natural human move, which is attacking the pawn. What? Rook to c1? Why would you do that? Why would you put your rook behind the pawn? Oh, I know, because he knows the entire game. He memorized everything. Now in this position, black plays knight takes b2. Erigaisi gives a check. Well, obviously to come back and plant the bit. No, to push the pawn. What? To push the pawn? But wait, I don't understand. Can't Nihal play rook e4 here and pin the... Yep. And I told you at the end, I'm going to show you what's absolutely just beyond disgusting about this game. But I'm about to show you what happened in the game itself. c5. Yep, he could just sacks the knight. Just gives away the knight completely. Why? Pawn's running. Oh my. Oh my. Pawn takes, and now not pawn takes. That would be bad. Because the bishop stops the pawn. The bishop is stopping the pawn, and that's it. You're not getting that queen. But rook c6! And now, despite being a piece up and a pawn nearly passing, this pawn is better. Nihal plays rook c4, which loses the game. 30 moves! Erigaisi hasn't spent a second thinking. He plays bishop c5, b6, runs the king, and Nihal can't stop the pawn. Nihal can't stop the pawn. This position is the first time in the entire game that Arjun Erigaisi thought. He played f3, he brought the bishop back, and then he escorted his pawn, and this is likely a winning endgame for white. He had 43 moves to get to this position. Black might be able to draw this, might. But nearly impossible when you have 1 minute versus 15. And Arjun effortlessly brings the pieces forward, doesn't overcommit his pawns. It's very important you don't rush with the exchanges here, because rook versus knight is a draw. Rook versus knight in 3 is not. So he pokes at the pawns, he creates imbalance so that the pawns are not the exact same, and then he just walks the enemy king straight down the board, and black resign. Now you might have said, wow, that was a great game. Amazing preparation. What's so special about all of this? Well, if you had the patience to watch this video for 13 minutes, I am about to show you why chess is broken and humans can never look back. Remember this position? When Erigaisi allowed his knight to be captured? Well, Erigaisi himself, magicians never should tell their secrets, except in chess. Erigaisi showed a line here after the game that was so heinous. Here's what he showed. One of the moves besides this was to play knight to d3, attacking the rook. The best move for white is to go here, and you would think that you repeat moves. You don't. Rook to c3 with the same idea, the same exact idea. So let's say black says, aha, I'm attacking your rook, and now I'm taking, and it's a better situation for me because I'm never losing my knight is here. Well, white does this anyway, right? Remember how in the game, in this position, white was doing well when the knight was over here? Well, here it doesn't win because black can play h6 and then escape. And the point is that if you try to queen, I save a draw. This is perpetual and you will not escape. And if I take the knight, you give me check and rook b1 and the pawn is stopped. The pawn is now handcuffs on the pawn. That was one thing that Arjun showed, which is why when you play c6, you do not take back with anything and you run. Look at the reaction of the computer. Stockfish doesn't even understand the idea yet. The idea of the move b6 is that you sacrifice not 1, But 2 pieces, 2 of them you sacrifice. Now you might say, Levy, that pawn is queening. Obviously, b7, rook d8, and then take, and boom. Wrong! That is not the idea. The idea is, if you play rook c6, I go here, stopping you. And if you run this way to go here, I go here, stopping you. Rook a8, here, here, and bishop takes. Good luck winning this with white, bozo. So you might think, Levy, I don't understand. What is so special? White to move and win f3. You are down 2 pieces and a pawn. f3 wins for white. The computer doesn't even understand the move yet. What's the point? Let's say black plays bishop to f5, stopping rook c6. I never wanted to take in the first place. Rook c5! And there's enough time to go here and here. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. The entire point is that the rook is stranded on the back rank and has no guard. So you can guard the bishop, but you cannot stop rook a8. I'm making my queen. I'm not making a queen and losing my pawn. I'm forcefully making a queen. So what if black defended the rook, right? What if the rook was defended from all of this? Then white would win the game by playing g4. White would win the game by playing the move g4 and cutting both squares from the bishop. This is lunacy. Lunacy. This is like hunting for a witch in the 1600s. This is insane. This is crazy. And that's not the end. Remember this idea? That no longer works. That no longer works because black has enough time to use this pawn as a decoy. And when you come here threatening to take, I use my own pawn. So you know what the idea is? After g4 and a3, the idea is rook a1. The knight can now no longer defend the pawn where it could on that square. So take and rook a8. I mean, what are we even looking at? f3 wins for white. Arjun Erigaisi had a 40-move prep explosion in this game. f3 wins for white with various ideas of getting in this way, or not even taking the pawn, or going down the a file. This is absurd. Are you not entertained? 40 moves of prep. Stockfish literally solved this entire game. I have no idea what to say except get out of here.